On to Rookie of the Year for offense. Ezekiel Elliott has 1,005 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, 5.1 yards per carry. Dak Prescott with 2,339 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, 106.2 QBR. And Carson Wentz with 2,121 passing yards and 9 touchdowns.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just flip of the coin for either of the Cowboy players. Just a matter of which one in the end gets the most votes. I think it's between those two, no question.
I'm going to bump in quick. So we had a little technical difficulty. New guys back there, don't worry about it. So we were live on NH Radio, except NFHS wasn't live. So we're now live on both networks. So if you'd like to go back to NFHS, it's now live. We got it taken care of. So continue where we were left off. Rookie of the Year. So.
Unbelievable.
Rigged.
So we were on Rookie of the Year, right?
It's like
I like what Ollhoff said. Flip of the coin between Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. Obviously, I'd prefer Dak Prescott. I think you know why. I don't like Ezekiel Elliott. But it's definitely going to be a coin flip between them. I mean, they're both on the same team, but they both have a huge impact on their team.
I think that Dak Prescott should win it too because Ezekiel Elliott, who's been having a tremendous season, right? But he was going to be starting. He was going to be starting no matter what this year. And practicing with the first team every practice, where Dak Prescott went in with the second team every practice, or came in there after Tony Romo. So for him to have to adjust a little bit more, I feel like, to the offense than Ezekiel Elliott had to, I think that's why you should win it.
I suppose filling in a big role that they didn't think they'd have to, but they did, and filling in like that, the way he did, like better than Tony Romo has in the past few years.
Yeah,
that's a huge thing to get from your second team, of course.
Agreed.
Yep, I agree with what you guys said. So we're going to move on to the NBA. Now, I don't follow the NBA much, so I'm going to let these guys talk for this. We're going to skim through it quick. So, I mean, Collin, you can take it over for NBA.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's my thing.
NBA Insider, let's go.
Pelicans edged the Bucks 112-106.
They didn't play
Pelicans' first win this year.
Bucks suck.
They were 0-8.
We knew that already.
Just for cheeks.
Bucks were coming back, but they choked in the last minute. They had momentum coming into the last minute, but they lost it like they did in the middle of the game earlier in the game.
And then we got Bulls beat the Heat 98-95. The return of D-Wade to Miami. I mean, hey, what a guy, right? What a guy. 33 years old.
Yeah.
You got to give credit to him. Still playing like he does at his age.
The elite level.
Yeah. Like with the best of them, he could probably play up with Kevin Durant and the guys on pretty much anybody on the Warriors is pretty much be a good game, but not that he'd win, but definitely.
And then the Pacers beat the 76ers 109-105, and the 76ers remain winless. And this was in overtime, by the way, so it was clearly a close game. Sixers remain winless. You think the Sixers can do better than they did last season?
I mean, hopefully, since they got the guy they were looking for, Joel Embiid.
I picked him as the sleeper pick this year to just come out of nowhere after going winless.
What do you think now?
I think they're still going to come out of nowhere.
Yeah, it could happen. And
then especially in the East.
Hawks stunned the Cavs and beat the Cavs. They were 8-0. Now, I think they're 10-1, won a couple games since then.
Yeah, Cavs suck anyways.
Hallelujah.
110-106. You think Cavs just bounce back from it and just...
No.
I'm sure the Cavs will, of course, do their thing and keep winning games. I don't want them to. I don't like LeBron James either. I've never.
You don't like LeBron James?
I've never been a fan of LeBron just because.
Get into that. Why?
I just he's everything. I feel like
he's everything.
I feel like he's not humble though. Like I like people who are humble who don't like try to.
It's fair.
Yeah. I'm the king. He says so himself. I don't like people who just go out there and say, I'm the best. I don't like, if I choose people to be on my team, I would not choose LeBron James. I like to have a good team. Not that he doesn't run a good team, but I want people who are humble and who will work hard and they will.
Tomorrow, like a Dwayne Wade guy.
Yeah.
Trying to be Midwest nice.
Earns what they get, but they don't just say that they are everything. Okay. That's what LeBron James does. personally
Clippers
Doesn't have a
prefer that.
cocky attitude.
Well, I have
Yeah.
admiration for the guy, though.
Yeah, that's true.
He's still good, I'll say that.
Right, put in an
Definitely.
impossible task from high school on to be the next heir apparent to MJ, and everybody scrutinizing every single move that he makes. I mean, the media is all about getting guys and ranking them based off of championships, and people were ticked off that he made the move to the Heat. But hey, you know what? If we value championships so much for these players, and that's how we rank them, he made what was the best choice at that time for him to go and get that ring. So I don't blame him for the different moves that he's made. He's done it to serve his best interest, to be able to be seen as one of the best. He's played that way. And there's something to be said when you have a team, maybe he hasn't won all the NBA Finals in the last 6-7 years, but he's gotten his team to the NBA Finals, whether it's with the Heat or now with the Cavs, to the NBA Finals. That says something. So I'll give him that.
The Clippers sneak past Oklahoma City 110-108, and the Clippers are finally looking good to make that NBA Finals run. Once that they drafted Blake Griffin, a couple years later, 2-3 years later, they got Chris Paul on that team, and they were destined and supposed to make that NBA Finals run. They've been good every year, but they always either choke in the finals, not the finals, the conference finals, the division series. They have not made it to the finals yet this year. Do you guys think they can make it to the finals this year?
I think it's too early to tell. I mean, I know I keep saying this, but I do like the Clippers. I like them, but I think it's too early to tell. I want them to. I still can't decide how I feel about Golden State just being this powerhouse team, and I don't think they've showed it. I don't think they've showed it yet, and I think that's what it's all about. Like creating this big team and just having it topple on over, trying to be this big thing, big powerhouse.
Yeah, I agree with the early. I mean, you got a lot of ball game. That's going to be the quote that I'm going to be saying a lot on the pod here for anything. To me, they remind me, kind of going against another sport, of the early to mid 2000 Indianapolis Colts, where they're a really good team, can play well in the regular season. They're going to get you into the playoffs, but they just don't do anything in the playoffs.
They don't make it.
Like, they'll make it. They might win a series, but they're not going to be able to get to the promised land. They maybe can get there once. I don't know if this will be that year.
Kind of like the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, you can make that argument for us too. I mean, honestly,
That's fair.
That get you there to the playoffs, but then there's always something that happens. There's a team, there's injuries that gets in their way, and they're never able to get to the promised land.
Last year in the playoffs, earlier in the playoffs, didn't Blake Griffin have issues? Like, didn't he get in trouble for something?
That was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I just thought maybe that had an impact on last year.
The standings for
I
the
don't remember.
top 10 in NBA right now, you got LA Clippers, Cleveland Cavaliers, Atlanta Hawks, Golden State Warriors, San Antonio Spurs, Toronto Raptors, DeMar DeRozan lighting it up, MVP candidate, Charlotte Hornets, Chicago Bulls, Houston Rockets, James Harden,
I gotta say
Portland
one thing.
Trailblazers.
A little bit too early to be talking about MVP candidates.
Oh yeah.
A lot of ball game
I think
left.
it started. I think
And it's always going to be the same
season started
people
last week.
anyways, so
That's all right.
probably.
LeBron James.
No.
Gonna be. He's gonna be at least
Shout
the
out
top
to
3 just
combos.
because. Sponsor
Quick trip.
plug. So yeah, I think it's I think is this a standings, power rankings, or is this, what is this all based off of here? Is this just standings, just overall
Yeah, the
records, or power
standings and the
rankings?
records. Yeah,
Okay.
records.
Yeah, I mean, there's, hey, you don't win a championship in October and November, but playing good basketball, getting the wins that you need to start off with will help you in the long run. So these teams here are doing the right thing. It's just a matter of, once you get into the calendar flip, get into February, get into March, where are these teams standing before we have like the longest playoff season out of any professional sport? It seems like the NBA goes on for, 3 months. So, where are these teams in 3 months from now? Are they still here? Where are they going to be?
I think it's a lot more than 3 months, Mr. Ollhoff. It's like the
I don't
whole
do
half
math.
a year.
Math, fact checks, math. I don't.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
whatever. It's all
Yeah, we don't
relative.
do math here.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, the high school basketball, that seems long enough. Like golf. I love golf. It's only 2 months long though, and their sport is like 4. I don't even know.
Yeah.
November to March. That's a long time.
Blame those Wisconsin winners, man.
Yeah. I mean, Wisconsin is definitely, known for having good basketball teams like Kaukauna definitely, and having those big teams.
We love
Indeed.
Wisconsin.
Yes, we do.
Bucky.
Well, I think that's a perfect place to go into our commercial break. Before we go into our commercial break, we're going to ask our trivia question. How long is actual play time in a 3-hour MLB game? We'll repeat the question. How long is actual play time in a 3-hour Major League Baseball game? It's a good one this week. We'll be right back after about a 3-minute commercial. See you guys later. Welcome back to the pod. I did not notice if anyone responded to the... Nope, nobody responded yet.
Thank you.
Okay, so
That's a good question.
we're on
Love
to
our
the
fans.
NCAA football.
Hold on, folks. Some of you may not have seen the Twitter sphere. The Packers, breaking news within the last 5 minutes here, have claimed off of the waivers from Seattle Christian Michael for running back, and we have placed running back Don Jackson on injured reserve. So here we go. Teddy Boy, Ted Legend, Ted Thompson is making moves and picking guys up. So that is the breaking news. We can see if he can be the man that can bring the running back abilities, the running game. Can we get that back with this man? I'm hoping so. I've heard good things about him.
Hopefully.
All right, college football. Let's get to that. That was the end of the breaking news.
Breaking news.
So, little recap of last week. Number 7, Wisconsin won big against Illinois, 48-3. Now, let's get into the good stuff.
What?
Number 17, North Carolina.
What?
lost
Boo.
to
Wait,
unranked
we
Duke.
just-
We can't
that's
just
it?
skip
We're
over
skipping
our
over
home
Wisconsin.
state.
Challenge.
No,
Skipping over.
No. Challenge.
no.
I was at this
They're up
game.
to
I want
number
to talk about it.
6.
We'll give it to Ollhoff then.
Okay, great game. Badgers, I was talking to my dad because I went with him on Saturday, talking before the game that the Badgers needed a game against a terrible opponent where we actually need to just blow them out. And Saturday was that game, 48-3. We scored 2 touchdowns right away. We intercepted Jeff George Jr. You got to look up Jeff George. He played the senior. He played for a bunch of different NFL teams. He was a journeyman, played for the Vikings, the Seahawks. He's the Jeff George Jr. is a freshman. We picked him off about 4 times. But, yeah, we got the big blowout when we needed. And hopefully when we get to that point later on this season with the committee, proving our point that, hey, we can beat some good teams, and when we play against teams that we should win easily, we do the job, we get the blowout. And a great first experience. That was my first game, Camp Randall.
Ooh.
Fantastic time for homecoming.
Camp
so
Randall's fun.
And
it was a good time.
I like to say
Jump
one
around.
thing. Like, it's not like for high school sports, it's all about the seniors, like, and their leadership. Like, that's how you go far. But I noticed, I'm not a big fan of college football, but I noticed that Wisconsin, they have a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors, and a lot of seniors. They're not. I feel like they don't sway too much. So the fact that they're able to do that and get to number 6 now is really good for them.
Yes, that's true. I wish they would have moved up a little bit more, though.
They will.
So, now, let's get into what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's get into what I want to talk about, the upsets. I'll just go through them all. Number 17, North Carolina lost to Duke, unranked Duke, 28-27. Number 2, Clemson lost to unranked Pittsburgh, 43-42. Number 3, Michigan lost to unranked Iowa, 14-13. Number 4, Washington lost to number 20, USC, 26-13. Number 8, Texas A&M lost to unranked Ole Miss, 29-28. And number 14, Virginia Tech lost to unranked Georgia Tech, 30-20. What is with all these unranked schools just coming in here and showing them who's boss? I mean,
I
jeez.
think it finally caught up to them, realizing that some nights you can get beat, and back to where you wish Wisconsin would have moved up. I just didn't really see it happening because think about it, 2, 3, 4 all lost. If only 2 of those teams lost, then maybe 2 of them would drop. Because all 3 of them teams lost, I don't feel like they really needed to move that much because all 3 of them lost. If only 1 lost and 2 others won, then yeah. But I just think it's finally catching up to them good teams. Like it just happens. Like the Knights, you can't predict college football.
Yeah. And it's so hard to be good in college football because there are so many teams, so many unranked, so many ranked. There's just like so many teams to play, and it's so hard to stay positive, stay good, keep that confidence, keep that momentum through the whole season, which is why if you're on top the whole way, you get so much credit. Like Alabama, they're always on top. That's why they're always predicted to be one of the best teams. And it's not I don't think it's surprising that they're losing. I mean, everybody loses. Obviously they didn't lose to the best teams, but that always happens, and it's just so hard to be good the whole year.
Fun to watch.
Yeah.
Very true.
I mean, you're looking at top 5 teams here. You're going to always, especially if you're in the rankings all year, regardless who you're playing, if it's another ranked team or if it's an unranked team, you're going to always get their best every single time. They want to knock you off your pedestal. So, this is the week. Kirk Herbstreit, last week was kind of saying this was going to be a quiet week when he was doing his college playoff predictions before this past Saturday. And usually those weeks that it's supposed to be quiet, that's where a lot of the action happens, where you have these upsets. There should have been one more game potentially on here. My dad and I were on the way back from Madison back to the western part of the state, back where I grew up, and stopped at Culver's, sponsor plug. They had the Louisville-Wake Forest game on there. I think they played Wake Forest. Wake Forest was ahead, 12-3. We saw Louisville score the touchdown to be 12-10. That was the end of the third quarter, and we got a ball game. Louisville, maybe they'll come back and get a win. A close game. And then just to see how many points Louisville scored in that fourth quarter, it was like 34 points. That was incredible. I was blown away when I finally saw that score when he got home. I couldn't believe that. We were that close to having another upset here to talk about. But instead it turned out like it was a blowout, like Louisville was in that kind of a lead the whole time. So, that was incredible, seeing that.
True.
Definitely.
So now, after an upset-filled weekend, we got some updated rankings. Number 1, of course, Alabama. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Louisville. Number 4, Michigan. Number 5, Clemson. Number 6, Wisconsin. Number 7, Washington. Number 8, Oklahoma. And number 9, Penn State. Number 10, West Virginia. But I think I did see something today where Wisconsin got bumped down to 7.
Yeah, they did. Washington got bumped up to 6.
I'm pretty sure that happened.
Wisconsin's at
rigged.
7.
Definitely rigged.
Because I think that might be the AP top 10 that we got. They had released last night the college football playoff rankings that they got, and we were at 7.
Yeah.
Any surprises at all in terms of the rankings out there? What do you got?
I think Washington should just be gone already.
I want to ask you guys a question. Do you think that Ohio State should be number 2 right now?
Louisville should be ahead of them.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I agree on that one.
I don't think that Ohio State should be. I believe they should be in the top 4, but not 2.
Yeah, Louisville should be ahead of them. It's pretty simple.
I didn't understand that.
I don't know. I think it's okay in my book because they just lost to Penn State, and look where Penn State's ranked right now. So I think justifiably, I think it's okay to have Ohio State there and Michigan where they're at because Michigan's lost to an unranked team in Iowa. So I think that's okay in my book. But yeah, you can make that case. I agree with Tyler what you were saying, just having Louisville flip with Ohio State because Louisville, to me, is an unstoppable force, and they proved that just in the fourth quarter alone on Saturday night.
Yeah, true. Hopefully, Wisconsin can keep moving up, though.
They got to win
top
up.
4.
Yeah, they got to go.
What I'm looking forward to is hopefully if they win out, which would put them in the Big Ten championship, and then they'll face somebody like either Ohio State or Michigan, and they beat them. That might bump them up to the top 4 for the playoffs.
That'd be a hype game, especially Ohio State, our nemesis. Love that.
Because they were getting into terms of like Scott Van Pelt was just talking about, where Alabama, I agree with that, is clear number 1. But you're looking at the possibility of having 2 Big Ten teams potentially in the rankings in the top 4, or 2 ACC teams in the top 4. So you have these Power 5 conferences, and you're always going to have one left out if we stick with the 4-team playoff. But you have that chance this year where you have 2 Power 5 conferences not represented at all because you have 2 teams from one conference making up the Final 4 here.
We're going to move on to NCAA men's basketball.
We're back.
Bye.
Joey, stop freaking out over there. Okay, so our first recap game, we're going to talk about Wisconsin's first game where they took care of Central Arkansas 79-47. But then last night they were upset by number 22 Creighton 79-67, which is really going to bum Wisconsin down.
I watched that game.
We will be.
You know
what were your thoughts?
My thoughts were when Nigel Hayes isn't Nigel Hayes, they just aren't as good as a team, I don't think. Bronze King scored 21 points last night. Know that, but I don't think he dished the ball around that good. But you got to remember, it might drop them down 6-7 ranks, but it's 2 games into the season. They still got 29 more games to play, 30 more games to play. They got plenty of time to move back up into that. It's not like football where you have to pretty much win every game.
It's true. Because the tournament is just so 64
right.
teams.
It doesn't and upset. It's like you never know what's gonna happen. So
that always happens.
Yeah, like the announcers were saying there at the end of the game last night, for whoever won last night, whether it was Badgers or not, Creighton, it's going to be just a nice thing on your resume. I see both teams easily being able to make it into the tourney. It's just a nice padding for your overall seeding, at least kind of getting to that kind of ranking. So, to me, you shot how many threes, missed a lot of those.
Yeah.
It just gets into kind of that territory you've seen the last few years with the Badgers, even with the couple Final Four teams where we live and die by the 3, and if we're off,
we lose.
We lose. That's just plain simple math there. So, not concerned. We have a game tomorrow night. The Badgers do at home. So, easy one just to move on. If they play like this, once it gets close to tourney time, then it might be a concern. We should be able to make. We should make the tournament, but we should be able to do our job, move forward, and take the lessons here, and keep on ticking.
True.
I think that Wisconsin can definitely make another big tourney run because they still have a lot of their returning players like Bronson Koenigs, Nigel Hayes, Ethan Happ, I'm pretty sure.
Vito Brown.
Yeah, and there was one other one. Oh, Zach Showalter.
Yep.
They still have some big names. I don't think they lost too much, and hopefully they can.
I think they lost like D.A. Dukin and Gasser maybe last year.
Yep.
I thought Gasser was Gasser or whatever.
Pretty sure Gasser
2 years ago.
He's on the Kings now, I think.
Yeah,
I thought
Kings D League.
I thought he was in China or something.
Something like that.
China.
I thought he was in China for real. I thought Gasser went to Euro League or something.
So let's talk about some other teams.
Indeed.
I think we'll bring up Kansas. They were upset by number 11 Indiana in overtime, 103-99. But then last night, number 7 Kansas upsets number 1 Duke on a buzzer beater, 77-75.
Hoorah!
I mean, should we hop on the Kansas bandwagon?
Joey's getting hype over there.
I don't think so because
they lose to Indiana, but then they take care of the number 1 team in the country.
You gotta remember, it's really not like football. It was one game earlier in the season. Like I feel like Duke has more people on their teams who are a little more experienced. Where like Kansas lost many of their I know they lost Perry Ellis, a big name. I know that they're all really, really, really young. They don't have any leaders on that team. So unless someone shows up as one, but I think in the long run, Duke is still better than Kansas. I can't jump on that bandwagon. I'm still with Duke on that.
And hasn't Kansas been like 1 or 2 the last 2 or 3 years in the tournament, and they
just foil in Sweet 16.
Yeah, and they have not lived up to what they want, even with big names like Joel Embiid, who is obviously
Perry
in the NBA
Ellis.
now.
So we'll see how this goes. I didn't get the chance to talk to Hoffy today, so I don't know if he was salty or not with the Dukies losing, but I'm okay with the Dukies. If the Badgers lost and Duke lost, I'm okay. I'm doing all right because the Dukies lost. Get them out of here. They're on the board, aren't they?
All right.
Get them on the board.
Oh, they should be.
Oh,
yeah.
We're being nice
well,
to Hoffy.
Hoffy's not here, so let's vote now. Duke, hey, board, up. Okay, that's
majority
rules.
rules.
That's a majority. All right, we need to get a cutout of Duke quickly before Hoffy gets back.
What do you guys think about Michigan State? I feel like coming into the season, they really had that mentality of these guys are really good. They got their Patino, I think their coach's name is. They lost. I
think it's Izzo. Izzo.
Izzo. They lost their point guard last year.
I would have to look that up too.
But he's that point guard. I mean, he's getting a lot of minutes. I think he's with the Bulls. Denzel Valentine with the Bulls. They lost him last year. They lost a really good three-point shooter last year. I mean, we all know what happened to him last year when they lost to number 14 team. But I think they're really overrated. I mean, they're ranked 12 right now, and I see them moving down a lot. 'Cause, I mean, Arizona beat them 65-63. I mean, Arizona, being in 10, Michigan State played them close, but I just don't see Michigan State living up to what they've been for the last couple of years.
No, definitely. Because they had some big names a couple years ago. I don't remember what they were exactly, but
They had Draymond Green a couple of years ago, too. I mean,
yeah. I don't remember the exact. I don't remember him, but I know that they were supposed to make a deep run, and they did. They didn't make it. I don't think they made it to the Final Four.
No. They're a team that just seems to either lose right away or make it to the Elite Eight, Sweet 16, and just die out right there.
Yeah.
That happens to so many teams in the tournament.
Yep.
Obviously, I don't know why we're talking about the tournament. That's in March.
It's
And there's so much to go through, but it's just how it ends. Like, we're basically predicting their ending, and that's how it always happens.
Yeah, I think they'll be, there's plenty of time for them to figure things out. I think they'll be okay. I think they could still be one of those top 2-3 teams in the Big Ten. So for them, I guess I wouldn't be overly concerned. I can see them getting a run in the tourney once you get to March. Game that at least, unless you want to get any more discussion on Michigan State, game that happened last night that was of interest to me too was the Oregon-Baylor game. Oregon, I think, came in as the number 4 team in the land in basketball, and I thought Baylor handed it to them pretty well last night. So there's another upset. I know that Collin and I were talking during study hall today a little bit about rankings where, I was feeling the Badgers aren't going to drop down too much this week. Might lose 3 or 4 spots maybe. You're not going to see that big drop like you would in college football, long season, get into that. But I think Oregon could be a team that could drop significantly in 1 week. I don't know how close to the top 25 Baylor is or was, but I could see Oregon falling out of the top 10 potentially from that loss last night.
Is that all you guys want to talk about for the men's basketball side of things? You got anything else? We're all good?
Give Hilbert Stockbridge enough credit the last couple of years to have the program that they have, and hopefully they can continue that for years to come, especially for a small school like that.
And Two Rivers, I see them next year.
They're not going to be the same
They're
team.
not going to be the same. Like we said last week, 20 seniors.
Yeah, 21 I think 21
and
seniors are gone next year.
I think McCoy said that pretty much every one of them started on both sides of the field, so.
It's true. So let's give a little bit of love to the girls' basketball team.
Yes.
Last night,
Indeed.
facing the defending state champions, Howard's Grove.
And they're projected to be number 3 in state this year.
They lost 69-23, which sucks. I mean,
I didn't go to the game. I personally didn't watch it, didn't listen to it, but
I was listening to it.
I heard that there was a lot of turnovers,
in
and
the first half.
especially when you're playing a really good team like that, you're going to pretty much play flawlessly to win or keep it close.
Mm-hmm.
So 30 turnovers, I don't know if that's the exact number, but
They were at 11 before half, 10 minutes before half.
right, so you just can't have that many errors versus a solid team like that. Versus a team that you're equally skilled with, and I just don't think that you can have that many errors. But I'm really excited to see them on Thursday play. I think Sheboygan Falls, is it on Thursday? I'm really excited to see that game.
Last year, I remembered I sat on the bench a couple times just to take stats for the games, and whenever I watched the games, it was always turnovers. When they had a lot of turnovers, they lost big, and when they didn't have a lot of turnovers, they still had too many. They played their best. They did the whole season.
Their best basketball.
And I know Coach Rump from last year, he always was like, if we just cut our turnovers half, we would have been in that game. And when they cut their turnovers in half, they were in the game, and it came down to the final seconds usually.
Very true.
Yep. Yeah. You could say it was the same thing for the Badgers last night. For just kind of finishing that point too, it's just the amount of turnovers is more than they usually do. It's just one of those things. It seems like Howard's Grove had a press. We have a very young team overall. I think there's three sophomores starting. a starting senior and a starting junior. So we're going to be going through some growing pains, but it's one of those things where you take the lumps here now. You can only go up from here. And again, as I talked about a few weeks ago, if we keep this young core around and everybody sticks with the program, go through the growing pains, but sees the growth, things could be very good for the girls team in due time. You just got to be patient.
Yeah, it's for any sport. It's all just going through the young play, just growing with the young players, getting them used to the program, the offense, the defense, how they run things. And once you get used to that, that's when you start playing your best. And that's what we'll be looking forward. Maybe we'll see it this year. Maybe we won't. We hope for the best, of course, but we'll definitely be seeing it. Hopefully,
within the next couple of years.
Very true. So one last thing before we have our outro, we have new logos for our two networks. We have the New Holstein Podcast, as you can see down below. That's our new logo for that. And then we have the Husky Broadcast Network, which we're going to switch to right now, so you can see that logo. So that's the Husky Broadcast Network logo. And you'll see that when we stream on games or something, we'll have the Husky Broadcast Network logo down there. And then for podcasts, we'll have the New Holstein Podcast logo. So, I mean, it'll all be good, just freshening things up a little bit.
I think we have to give one more shout-out to the boys basketball. They started on Monday.
Yeah.
And I think we're definitely looking forward to a big season.
Very true.
Some more big teams to play. Sheboygan Falls is still up there. But they have a lot of returning guys that we'll look to see some great talent, like Ryan Steffes, Dylan James.
I mean, hey,
big play there.
Chisel's back this year, too, so he might be able to bring some new energy.
And
I know a really good shot, too. So.
When he was a sophomore, he made a huge difference as a sophomore. Like he never missed. I feel like he never missed a three. Whenever he went in, he always either got that foul or he got it in the hoop somehow. So they still have good leadership. They have a few seniors. Nolan Byrne definitely. Cannot forget about the man. I think he may be all conference this year. Honestly, his work ethic is just so good. I love to watch him play. He's amazing. I love watching Nolan.
Yeah, that first game against Waupun is going to be legendary. It's going to be huge. It's going to be good.
Believe you.
Believe me on that, folks.
Well, that is all for now. Thank you to Brennan and Joey behind the scenes. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at PodcastNH. Also join us next week at nhradio.caster.fm or nfhsnetwork.com. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Holstein Sports Podcast.
Beats by Esco.